Well, good morning, everybody. This is Wednesday, January 15th, 2025, day 1057 of Russia's war of aggression against the people of Ukraine. I'm Peter Alexievich, and this is the news that we are waking up to. So, follow now. Look, there is a tendency to conflate things like yesterday's big attack by Ukraine against Russian infrastructure with today's big attack by Russia against Ukrainian infrastructure, right? Russia's responding. Maybe, but these kinds of scaled attacks take planning, preparation, time. It is likely that this attack has been in the works for weeks, and it's a complete coincidence that it's coming on the heels of Ukraine's attack. I'm thinking of this because I'm getting a lot of wait until Russia retaliates troll bullshit on my comments. The trolls have found me once again. They must have hired a new troll farm, and they're all out in force, boy. All right, anyway. What did Russia do last night? According to the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense, 117 aerial targets were identified. 74 drones, mostly of the Shahed attack type, and then another 40 missiles. 40 missiles. It's a big night. Of those missiles, of the 40 missiles, the Iskander got through. All 7 of the KH-22s got through. That's where the damage got done, right there. 23 out of 24 of the KH-101s were shot down. Good shooting. 3 out of 4 of the Caliber cruise missiles shot down. Good shooting. 4 out of 4 of the KH-59s were shot down. So it's a 75% interception rate on the missiles, whose targets, and it's worth mentioning, they were launched from 13 strategic bombers. So Tu-22s, Tu-95s, Tu-160s, and the MiG-31K, right? Is that right? 31K, I believe. The one that can shoot Kinzhals. It does not appear that any Kinzhals were used last night. It does not appear that any hypersonics were used last night. But again, these missiles did get through. And the targets were natural gas and energy infrastructure. And they hit those targets in Kharkiv, Lviv, Ivano-Frankivsk, where significant damage was reported. The head of Lviv Regional Administration, Maxim Kozitsky, said that 2 critical infrastructure facilities were hit, but thank God no casualties were reported. The same, or something very similar, was true in Ivano-Frankivsk, where Svetlana Onischuk, the Ivano-Frankivsk regional administrator, reported the same, no casualties, but hits to infrastructure, stating, relevant services are working at the scene and the situation is under control without giving any further details. Lights were put out in Dnipropetrovsk, Donetsk, Kharkiv, Sumy, Poltava, Zaporizhia, and Kirovohrad regions. So all over Ukraine, we were lucky here in Kyiv. We were not a target. And so the power and the heat have been on. The rest of the country is not so lucky. In at least 7 regions, they're facing potentially protracted blackouts. By tonight's live, I should have word on where power has been restored. Now, in addition to those 40 missiles, you had 74 drones come in. Of the 74 drones, 47 were shot down. Another 27 were dealt with active countermeasures. That gives a grand total of 74 drones taken out, a 100% interception rate. The Ukrainians are just killing it, no pun intended, when it comes to taking the Shaheds out of the sky. They've been doing it for so long with so little They appear to be capable of doing it with nothing. Now, I'm going to play this video here. This is the Lukoil facility in Volgograd, Russia. Now, this facility has been hit in the past by drones. Ukraine is not taking responsibility for this strike, not yet anyway. The regional or the Lukoil representative said that this was a technical malfunction in the plant that led to the fire. The fire has been extinguished. It's a pretty big freaking fire for a technical malfunction. In addition to that, locals did hear explosions at the time and saw the fire, as you can see here. Now, could it be an accident? Could it be a case of Ivan smoking? Of course it could be. It's an oil refinery, right? Lots of opportunity for a fire to break out. But it is interesting to me because that's a big fucking fire, right? That's not there's some spilled oil here and I threw my cigarette into it. It's a big fire. And this is one of Russia's largest oil refineries. It's been hit before. It's been hit before. So we're waiting to hear whether or not the Ukrainians take credit for this one. Now, Reuters is reporting that the Eagle S, the ship that the Finns commandeered after we believe they were responsible for dragging their anchor along the Baltic seafloor and breaking the Estonia Link 2 energy line, high voltage line to Estonia, and 4 additional, I've been saying 3 additional communications cables, but I'm noticing in all the latest reporting, everybody is saying 4 additional communications cables. So I'm going to say 4 as well. Now, according to Risto Lohi, the lead investigator for the National Bureau of Investigations of Finland, who's leading this investigation, the Eagle S not only cut those cables that we know about, but was on its way to then cut the Estonia Link 1 power cable, and likely the data cables that lie alongside it, and the Baltic connector, which has also been hit in the past by the Russians, we believe by the Russians. All of this, right now, this is why it's so critical to grab these guys and hold them, right? What Biden failed to do with Trump. He had 4 fucking years to put that criminal behind bars. Makes me crazy. Sorry. The Eagle S, according to investigators, was on its way to sever more undersea cables. Now, they wouldn't say that if they didn't have some evidence to that effect. And that's why commandeering these vessels, getting the perpetrators in custody, is so important and is going to be so important moving forward, I think. Now, an interesting thing happened last night at the FSB office in Moscow. A senior high-ranking FSB officer, Vladimir Veschenko, was shot and killed apparently over a personal argument. It is said that a friend of his was in town, a longtime friend of 35 years, somebody they had served with in the military as a kid, was in town. It's reported that they argued, the friend shot him, and he was killed on the spot in the FSB office. Now, we don't know what maybe he was fucking his wife. Who knows, right? We don't know what they fought about. But to see this kind of violence, right? The FSB is famous for visiting violence on others. But to see this kind of violence in Moscow, in the offices of the FSB, speaks to a level of pressure, I think, that one cannot even imagine. Because you're dealing with a boss that will send you to the gulag for the rest of your short, miserable life. Because life in the gulag is short and miserable. So it's awfully hard to say. I'm going to watch this story and see if anything else comes of it. I'm sorry, that's the FSB office. Now, in Russia today, you got no internet. In large tens of millions of people inside of Russia today have no internet. And the reason why is not clear. This could be an ongoing Ukrainian hack, right? And they don't talk about their hacks until afterward, and we get the details of what they accomplished. Could have something to do with that. Now, in terms of the internet outage, just prior to this, we had this amazing thing happen. Now, just imagine you're a Russian at home watching the TV, and suddenly you hear those beeps, hear those emergency beeps, and this emergency message comes up on your screen. And my understanding of what this message says is that there has been a failed coup attempt, assassination attempt, against Vladimir Putin. Ramzan Kadyrov has seized power in the country. People are being told, do not leave your homes under any circumstances. Stay inside and wait further information. Now, who the hacker is, what the point of this operation might have been, we don't know. Certainly, it sows angst in the Russian population. There's no doubt about that. And it's interesting that they pin it on Ramzan Kadyrov. You know, what we don't talk about is what's going to happen to Russia when Putin is gone. Putin has created an environment where all of the credible, competent people have been eliminated, for the most part. The people who cozy up to him, the people with money and power, have private armies of their own. He has turned the country into a clash of warlords. And when he is gone, those warlords are going to go to war against each other, I would think. Somebody like Ramzan Kadyrov with his deep suspicions and ethnic hatreds of the Dagestanis, that's a powder keg just waiting for a match. The Kremlin, who has held everybody together by force, if it's emptied of a forceful individual, there's just no telling what's going to happen inside of Russia. And I can't imagine that Putin is long for this world. I really can't. Not at the rate things are going bad. Now, Peter Fiala, the Prime Minister of Czechia, Czech Republic, announced today the completion of the Transalpine pipeline to bring natural gas from Italy to Czechia. And he said in a statement, so the expansion of the Transalpine pipeline into Eastern or Central Europe has happened. Right? They had 3 years to get it done. They got it done. Why? Because they're competent leaders. That's why. 3 years. And Fischo's acting like the whole thing is a big surprise that Ukraine cut off the gas. It's ridiculous. Now, he said the words, it is no longer possible for Czechia to be blackmailed by Russia with Russian gas. Sound analysis. In Iran, now to me this is really important. The 17th, in 2 days, Friday, the president of Iran is supposed to travel to Moscow and sign a mutual defense pact like the one that Kim Jong-un did. Now, we don't know much detail of that pact. However, it has come to public light that Iran is not recognizing Crimea nor any of the annexed territories as Russia. Iran will continue to recognize Ukraine's internationally recognized 1991 borders. Now, I've seen a couple of analysts who have pointed to some statements that have come out of Tehran recently. They're of the opinion, now they are the minority. I want to stress that. These people are the minority. But they are saying that it's not impossible that Iran is going to back out of this deal and not sign this security agreement. Now, why the president of Iran would travel to Moscow then, I don't know. But let's keep our eyes open and watch this thing. If that trip is suddenly canceled, that could be a good indicator of trouble in paradise. Now, I have two videos here that show two different things. And they're pieces of life on the front line that I thought were very revealing. There's dozens, hundreds, millions probably of these kinds of videos around. But unless you're on Telegram, unless you go looking for them, you don't find them. So let me start with this one. Take a look at this and tell me if you can figure out what's going on here. Here comes this car. It's speeding along. And then do you see it right up there? Right up there. Right up there. That's not a bird chasing. That's what they call a bird, right? But what it is a drone chasing that vehicle. I mean, this is life on the front line. Now, these are Russians that film this. But the same goddamn thing happens to Ukrainians every day. You know, you're trying to get your day started or ended or get through it. And all of a sudden there's that buzz, right? Just the other night on the live, man, during an air raid where people said they could hear the anti-aircraft guns. All I could hear was the sound of that drone engine, right? I could hear it. You get attuned to it because that means trouble is coming. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, here are some of the guys who guard me in my sleep every night. These are Ukrainians dealing with Russian drones. And in this case, I think they just got it looks like a 50 caliber machine gun mounted on the back of the truck. There's the sights. There's the drone. There's the hit. And there's some of the burning debris. And so I thought that this was a good video. A lot of these videos are very jumpy, hard to follow. So it was a good video showing off the work that the guys do. And I thought it was worth sharing it with all of you. That's it for me for this morning. This is the news that we are waking up to for Wednesday, January the 15th. I'm Peter Alexievich, and I'll see you all on the live tonight. Take care.